Thank you. Do you want me to do the roll call, Betsy, or
Oh,
would you
yeah,
like
this
to
is your
do it?
committee. I'm just here in case there's a problem.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. Present this evening are Representative Massett, Chair of the Committee, Representative Aubry, Representative Scott, Representative Watson. Is Harry here?
Representative Thomas was also.
Right. No, is he?
No, he's not here. I don't see him.
Right, and I have him as absent.
Harry's here. I just have to move him over.
Oh, okay. And absent Representative Thomas. Our guests this evening are RTM Moderator Rusk and Town Clerk McCousher. So I call the meeting to order. Our first order of business is to talk about the rules and procedures for the current RTM. However, I would like to reverse that and maybe put Representative Scott's proposal first so that can be dealt with. Do I need
Madam Chair, I would ask that Ian Thomas and I have been working on some ideas on this. I expected him to be here tonight. If we could give him a few minutes to arrive, but let's stick with the agenda as it is, and hopefully he can be here.
Okay, all right. Have you and Representative Thomas seen the attorney's opinion?
I have.
Okay.
I've not spoken with Thomas about it, but I have seen it.
Okay. All right. So we can start, I guess. The first order of business is, I have to figure out where I am. Thanks, folks. Would be to start going over the rules. And just let me pull mine up. I don't know do you think it's necessary to go through every single rule that the RTM has now, or to address the changes that have been proposed by Representative Thomas? Anybody has anything?
If you want me to, I can jump in here. I know that there was also at the last meeting of the RTM, the 32nd RTM, I think Representative, now Moderator Rusk, I believe had proposed starting the meeting earlier. So that would be something. I don't know if that's in the works here, but that was one of the things that was discussed.
Oh, hi, Harry, sure.
Madam Chair,
yes,
there is something in the rules. I forget what rule it was, where you have to put the schedule up, before the end of December. And then if you want to change any meetings, you have to do it a month ahead of time or something like that. I read that somewhere in here. It doesn't.
Yeah, I have
I
that, Terry. You're all set. It's just a matter of changing the rules, and you'd have to say, okay, starting January meeting or February meeting, whenever you decide, you'd have the whole list of the meetings to change the hour. It's easy. It's an FOI requirement.
Yeah, that's not
okay.
My point. My point is the time, and not the days of the meeting. There's nothing in our rules that says what the time is. We do, however, we voted on. When we voted on the meeting dates? That didn't have a specific time on it. It just had the dates. Is that correct?
Right. It's always
I'm sorry. It does have it. It said all meetings meet at the senior center at 7:30 p.m. in the address of the senior center, unless otherwise specified, is what it says.
So then we would have to change that if we wanted to change change that's what I was getting at. I don't, I personally would like to see the meeting start a little earlier.
Okay,
And if that's something this rules committee wants to do, then the entire RTM would have to okay that as part of the
Right.
rules. And then we would have to go through rechanging our schedule of meetings for the whole year, a month ahead of time, but that's okay. I'm just, that's one thing. I do have notes on all the rules that I have questions about.
okay,
So if you
hold
want to
on.
address Representative Thomas's, that's okay.
Okay,
I'll wait my turn.
Right, so Harry, before we jump into that, maybe, how does everyone else feel about changing the time from 7:30 to 7?
I think it's an excellent idea.
Okay, one,
Fine
John?
with it. I'm fine with it.
Okay,
I
all
agree.
right,
I agree.
okay, so that is unanimous. So, well, there are only 4 of us. 4. Okay. All right, now, so Betsy, are you the person who's gonna put that, like, kind of get it going in the works?
Well, whatever you come out of from this committee meeting, your
Okay.
minutes will reflect all of that. And so what I can do is put together that agenda, I'll give it to everyone, with the meeting change. But that's
Okay.
the idea. You really have to bring it to the full body. You can't-
Right, right,
We've done this before because we've done it differently before because it was discussed on the floor. The actual change was discussed on the floor, but the procedure for changing rules is the entire body has to have fair warning. They have to see it and they have to have an opportunity to discuss it. So it used to take 2 months to get something changed. But with the internet and things that we're doing now, we may be able to, come out of this meeting. You send me your minutes next Monday.
Okay.
And then I can put it together and send it out, and people will have it, several weeks before the next meeting.
all right.
So just for a
Okay.
procedural item though, should we be making a motion and seconding it, motion to amend whatever that piece was, second and a vote, or we just do it by consensus of the group?
My thought is it might be easier to do it by consensus because we still have to present it to the entire body.
Okay.
Okay, are you good with that, or do you want to just go through the whole?
No, I'm just asking procedural. It doesn't matter to me. You're the one who's going to have to explain it to the floor.
Thanks a lot. Okay,
But remember, your body, all committees, you can't make an actual decision. You're only making
Right.
recommendation.
right, everything. So because all we can do is recommend, my thought is it would be easier and for us just to do it by consensus. Okay, all right.
Okay.
So,
I'm just going to alert you, Madam Chair, that one of your attendees, Representative Surf, has her hand up. And, it's your prerogative if you want to hear from her. But remember, she cannot monopolize. No one can monopolize this.
I realize that.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's up to you. Want to hear from her?
Sure. Yes. Representative Surf?
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Or am I
Yes.
still muted? Okay, I just have this is the Rules Committee meeting. Is the whole
Yes.
body here, or is it just the 4 of you and me and Betsy? Or is the whole-
Actually, okay, at this point, this is the Rules Committee, Temporary Rules and Procedures Committee. So it is just the 4 of us and the town clerk at this point,
And the moderator.
and the moderator.
So how did I get invited to this?
I have no idea. You probably sent an email that you wished to be invited. If you don't want to be here, that's fine.
I'm
Well,
fine with being
I
here.
can-
I just wanted to know what it was about, what the status was. So I'm fine with this. And
So let me
you
just clarify the procedure on all meetings. So all committee meetings, subcommittee meetings, RTM meetings, council meetings. We send that information, an invitation to every member because you're an ex officio member of any committee, even though you're not a voting member. And so you have to know that a meeting is being held and that you could attend.
Okay,
Okay,
does
thank
that
you.
clarify? Does that clarify for you?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, so you just want to listen in?
Yeah, is that all right?
Sure, that's good. Okay. So we,
Jackie,
gonna
could I just say one more point of?
sure, Harry.
I'm looking at the rules, it's 9.3.1. And it just, we have done this already, approved the meeting for the year. We don't have to change anything in the rules to change the meetings to 7. That's a different procedure altogether,
Right,
which we
right.
have to bring up to the RTM.
right.
Unless we wanted to put that in the temporary, in the rules, but we don't have to do anything. If we want to change the meetings to 7, there's a different procedure to do that.
Right, it just has to be presented to the body as a whole. If I'm correct. Okay,
Right. I'll put a resolution together with the time change. It'll all be the same
Okay.
dates, just a time change.
okay, that works. Was there, let's see. So we dealt with that. Was there anything else? I know one of the things that I'm looking for is the length of time that folks are allowed to speak. And I can't find it. Can anybody find it quickly?
I think
It's
I
10
read it.
minutes. I just found it.
Okay,
You're talking
Under-
about citizens petitions, that's rule 9.6.
okay. Okay, citizens petition, but I'm talking about RTM members. Because there was a rule, if I'm not mistaken, where RTM members could speak to an issue twice. And then they could not speak again. I was thinking maybe amend that to say, except during budget time. Because a lot of times during the budget, we're having a discussion and I may already have spoken to something twice, but then John, you may say something and I may want to ask you a question or address what you've said. And by that rule, I can't do that.
I think we ought to find
Section is
it.
that in? I'm reading through the rules now. Wish I got the right petition here.
I'm looking for it.
I see.
It should actually be in section 8, but it's, but I don't see it.
In section
Yeah.
6,
Okay, here it is.
6.2.3, no committee shall have less than, oh, that's members. I'm
No, no,
sorry.
no,
Yep,
no.
wrong one.
Okay,
So section
so,
8 is discussions, debate, and voting.
all right,
Um,
here I go. I'm looking.
I'm wondering if that's only in the budget, in the moderator's budget letter.
Okay. I think, Jill, if you're here, could you just make a note of that maybe, I don't know, people can ask, we're not going to be subjected to the confines of however many minutes it is during budget time.
Okay,
well,
I'll put
There-
that
there's-
as a note.
the only reference that I see for time
I'm looking for
is
it.
Rule 8.8, where an RTM
Mhm.
member can recognize a non-member, and that non-member is limited to 10 minutes, but there's nothing I'm seeing, unless it's somewhere else, Betsy, maybe you know better than I do. I'm not seeing anything in there that says an RTM member couldn't go on for hours talking about something.
I thought that,
Mhm.
I thought Sima had a rule.
There's something in our, in Robert's rules, which our rules refer to about a time of debate.
Oh,
Okay,
we have, I really think it's in the budget letter.
okay,
But,
as long as,
but there is a section 7.3 about moving the question. That's an interesting,
Yes.
that was a rule that was worked on this last, the 32nd RTM changed that, and it's quite interesting. You should look at that.
yes. And that's always been an issue with, after 10 minutes, moving the question. And there have always been people who haven't really paid attention to the time, and after about 5 minutes, they're ready to move the question. I think that to leave 10 minutes is good, unless anybody has an issue with 10 minutes.
But also the moderator has the discretion, if there were
Yes.
people with their hands up waiting to talk and the time came up, that moderator has the discretion to let them speak for 1 minute. I thought it was
Right.
well,
Right, I think, I don't know how everybody else feels, but I think that's a good.
If I could
Sure.
share on the council, what we had worked out is that everybody has the opportunity to speak on each issue. If there's a hand raised and it's somebody that's already spoken and the rest of the group have not, they have to wait until all
Right.
councilors have spoken,
Right.
which makes it so it flows a little bit better. And of course, we had a time on how long you could speak. I think it was, God, I can't remember, 5 minutes?
I think it's, I think it's 5, Leanne.
Okay, and that helped immensely, because you really can have some people that are going to just keep on going.
Right, right,
So if you keep the order of it, and then you keep a limit to the time. And the other thing that I think it's kind of in the sequence of this, but point of order is unbelievably abused. And whether it's tonight or another time, I think there has to be a discussion about how that's supposed to be used, and, then have a discussion at the full RTM meeting.
okay. First, let me just back up a minute.
Yep.
You would like to see the speaking time kept to 5 minutes?
I think it's ample.
I think
5
5
minutes
is
for one.
fine.
And then,
For-
go ahead, John.
What was the 5 minutes for our own debate?
When you're
Yes.
speaking, 5 minutes to say what you've got to say. You can speak more than once, but it's 5 minutes each time you're
5
called.
minutes originally, and then it goes around again.
Is there, if there's a presentation that needs to be made, is there an ability for an exception at the consent of the moderator if the member needs more time?
Oh, where's Jill? Jill is here. I don't think that would be an issue if someone is making a presentation.
Yeah.
Because obviously during budget time, the finance committee, that person, whoever chairs that committee, has to speak more than 5 minutes.
No, I understand that, but let's say that we're in the middle of a presentation. The chairman of the Rules Committee, for example, is doing a presentation on tonight's discussion, and a member on the floor has put a lot of work into something, and it's going to take longer than 5 minutes for the member to get that information out there. Is there a way for the moderator or somebody to allow for an extension of time?
I think, I honestly, I think that is something that should be left up to the moderator. I don't, I think everybody would understand if you were making a presentation on something that you may talk more than 5 minutes. One thought would be for whomever it is that is going to be making the presentation to speak to the moderator beforehand and say, my presentation is going to take longer than 5 minutes.
The moderator has her hand up.
Moderator, yes, Jill. Jill,
So, yeah, sorry. So Robert's rules say the 10 minutes. That's where it is. It's not in our rules. Robert's rules say 2 10-minute sessions to speak.
okay,
So if we're limiting down to 5 minutes, we can. It's part of your purview to do that in your rules. But that's where the 10 minutes comes in.
okay.
Has anybody historically gone longer than 5 minutes or longer than 10 minutes?
On the RTM, I can only speak about the council.
No. Harry, no,
Can I
I
just say
don't-
something, Jackie?
Sure.
I think that, I think our moderator, if the moderator has the discretion to say, I mean, when you're running a meeting, part of running a meeting is to be able to feel what's going on and say, you know
Right.
what, this person's talking about revaluation of an entire neighborhood or whatever the subject is. If it's okay with the RTM, I'm going to let them go a little bit longer. And Jill, you have that
Right.
power, and we're all reasonable people. And getting back to the time, we always revert back to Robert's rules. And it says 10 minutes in Robert's rules. I personally think somebody can get their point across in normal discussion in 5 minutes. And I honestly get a little bit tired of the RTM meetings ending at 10:30, 10:45 at night. I think people can get their point across in 5 minutes. And if it's going to take more than that, the moderator has a discretion to run the meeting and do that. I think you just need to be reasonable people. Okay.
Okay. All right, what I put down is representatives' time to Representative Aubrey, keep the speaking time to 5 minutes. And Robert's rules allows for 10 minutes. But ultimately it would be at the moderator's discretion. Does that make sense
Yeah,
to everybody? Okay.
yeah.
Oh, wait, I haven't agreed to this yet. I'm thinking out loud. Why are we setting a rule that is contrary to Robert's rules?
Because
That's
You know
it's our
what?
job to
I
do
get your
that
point.
job.
No, I know, but one of the reasons why I'm questioning it is we're limiting it to 5 minutes. And I think there was a public outcry, mainly towards the council, about the limiting of people's ability to speak. I feel like putting or maintaining a 5-minute rule is a bad idea, and that we should refer to have this area refer to Robert's rules for the procedure and the time.
Okay.
I can speak
And
again,
if I jump
Jackie.
in, I just really have to tell you, if you don't mind, Madam Chair, the history behind timing minutes, timing people's speaking times. I find it very distasteful to curtail anyone who has something to say. Number one, I don't like moving the question or any of that, but besides that, because you're all here for the same reason. If someone's standing up and grandstanding, the moderator will see this, and the moderator will say, anytime someone gets off subject, the moderator will bring them back.
Right.
It's a big responsibility to be the moderator, and not everybody likes you, but she can do it. So,
Okay.
but I mean, you've got Robert's rules if you need it. Let's say somebody is going on, and you can bring in the Robert's rules. But as soon as you put a rule into your RTM rules, you got to
Then,
stay with
yeah,
it. People
then you
will
get-
say, "Oh, point of order. The rules say." So
Okay,
leave it to the
so-
moderator.
So maybe, let's see, keep speaking time at 5 minutes,
Yeah.
at moderator's discretion. Time could be increased.
I think we should specifically reflect the
Say
chapter and
Robert's
verse,
rules.
Robert's rules
Okay, so
related to
I'll,
that.
I'll
Could I
take the
say-
5,
Jackie, could I
Um,
say something?
sure.
Okay. John, I think you're thinking about two different things. If you're given a report, there are no limitations on the amount of time you speak. So if you come in and you've got a committee report or something like that, you just go ahead and you do it in the amount of time that's needed. We're talking about the remainder of the RTM and the amount of time they can speak.
I
And I
understand
think,
that.
and I think you'll find that 5 minutes is more than ample. You can speak again, you have to take a turn, and you can do it, as far as I see anything in here, pretty much as many times as you want, again, at the moderator's discretion. But you really don't need more than 5 minutes if you're going to stand up and say, I'm in favor of it, and this is why I'm in favor of it, or I'm not in favor of it, and this is why I'm not in favor of it. 5 minutes gives you more than enough time to say what you're feeling. The other parts of the meeting have no time limitations on them. So you really, what you're trying to do is keep your meeting under control. And
I understand that. I'm just, there was a public outcry that I saw doing doors and everything that people thought, and again, it's more towards the council, but I feel like we should not be putting into the rules language that limits people speaking.
You're not.
Yeah, we are though. We're limiting it to 5 minutes.
You're not limiting
Right.
them. They can talk as much as they want. You just got to give each other a chance. So if you've got 5 minutes and you say what you've got to say, and then the next person takes 5 minutes and the next person takes 5 minutes, you can come back again. There's nothing that says you can't come back and defend your position again and again. We're
Okay,
not.
but my question though is, my understanding is that the previous moderator followed some aspect of Robert's rules and was cutting people off after
Yes.
2 times to the table.
Yes.
Which that may be what's in Robert's rules. So if she's going to cut people off at 2 times, then we should be giving people 10 minutes and their 2 times as per Robert's rules.
I think it would be better to give people ample times that they want to speak. But you've got to have some control over a meeting, John.
Right.
And
Robert's rules gives you the control. That's why I'm saying refer it to Robert's rules.
So, okay. All right.
okay, we'll
hold
agree
on.
to disagree. Okay, John?
I know.
Can I
And the
just say
moderator's had
one
her hand
thing?
up a couple of times.
And
Can I just-
actually, Harry, go ahead.
All right. The other thing is too, we're talking about Robert's rules and running a meeting. The RTM is 30 some people,
Right.
Exactly.
and I mean, I think maybe Robert's rules is written for every governing body. I don't, maybe the Congress of the United States for gosh sakes, but we're, we could be there forever. And I honestly believe that 5 minutes is plenty of time to make your point. And if you can't make it in 5 minutes, the moderator could grant you a little bit more time. I think the whole reason of the whole thing is to keep the
Keep
blah,
the
blah,
meeting moving.
blahs from going on. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Okay, I am going to say, keep speaking time to 5 minutes at the moderator's discretion. People may speak longer. Is that?
That
Hello?
sounds good to me.
Okay,
I don't agree, but I'm one vote.
That's all right. We'll put it to a vote.
okay, all right. No, I get it. Moderator may. Woo,
Madam Chair, there are 2 people in 2 representatives in the gallery that had their hands up, Larry Bright, Representative Bright, and Representative Surf.
okay, all right. So who's seeing, I can't see who has.
I
their
know
hand up.
Representative Bright and Representative Surf.
Okay, Representative Bright, would you like to speak? Hello,
You're on mute.
You got it. There you
unmute,
go.
please.
I've been listening to this and I've been watching, I'm new to this game. So if I'm, doing something wrong, let me know. But I've watched, the United States Congress. I've watched a lot of their things. And the person that controls it, I believe, is like in the Senate, I believe it's the President pro tem. And then in the House, I guess it's the Speaker.
It's a speaker.
And they really control the meeting because I see them allocating time. In other words, there's no set time. But like I saw the other day, I saw Chip Roy giving a thing and he had 60 minutes and then he would yield time of that 60 minutes to other people. And so if we want to, have it to 10 minutes, if somebody wants to speak, like the person who has the 10 minutes could say, I yield 2 minutes of my time to Representative so-and-so.
The only problem that I have with that is I just feel that the meeting will get totally out of control. If people are speaking and then all of a sudden it's like, I yield 5 minutes of my time to whomever.
Yeah,
Well-
well, if I could just chime in on that,
Sure.
the state legislature and I think Washington DC uses a different form of rules. It's not Roberts, and the name is
Right.
escaping me.
Oh, okay.
So that's why they
All right.
We
do
wouldn't-
the things that they
Well,
do.
well, then I guess it's got to be controlled by the moderator. I mean, you should
Yes.
give somebody 10 minutes and most people will probably not use the whole 10 minutes.
Right.
And so they will say their, spiel in 4 minutes and then sit down. But if they get to 10 minutes, then the moderator can say, according to Robert's rules, it's 10 minutes. And in order, so we're not here till midnight, we're going to control it 10 minutes.
Moderator Rusk, do you want to weigh in on this? Would you, like 5 minutes, limit speech to 5 minutes until everybody speaks? And then if someone has something else to say, another 5 minutes? Or would you like people to be able to speak for 10 minutes at a time? It's your meeting, so you get to say.
Well, it could be
Moderator
one,
Rusk.
it could be 1 10-minute or 2 5 minutes.
Right.
In other words, you can talk for 10 minutes or 5 minutes and then somebody else gets it. And then if you want to come back, you get another 5 minutes and that's it. Total
Oh,
of
she
10 minutes.
left again.
So it would be a total of 10 minutes.
It's her connection. She keeps getting kicked out.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I'm
all right.
back. I'm just on my
Oh,
cell
okay.
phone now.
So, Moderator Rusk, my question to you is, we're talking now about the time for people to speak.
Mhm.
Some folks are saying 5 minutes. Robert's rules is 10 minutes.
Right.
A suggestion has been made to limit folks to 5 minutes for the first go round. And then if they want to continue a second go round at 5 minutes, or just give them 10 minutes to begin with.
I like the idea of people being able to speak twice because sometimes something gets triggered up in discussion that they want to address.
Okay.
I'm not sure where I stand on the 5 or 10 minutes. I'm going to be honest. I feel like Robert's rules are 10 for a reason. I agree that most people can say what they need to say in 5 minutes, but there are times that people need to talk a little longer. But we do have 2 options to speak.
Right.
And we are a group of 41 people. So,
Right.
but I'll be honest, I don't want to be up there with the time, watching the time the entire time I'm moderating.
Okay. So, that could probably be accomplished if we had a limit of 10 minutes. Most people are not going to speak for 10 minutes. They're going to say what they have to say and they'll be done. But with a limit of 10 minutes, the folks who just want to talk, they will have 10 minutes to talk. How does that sound? And at the moderator's discretion, if they veer off topic, once they veer off topic, they're done.
Point of order and off
Yes.
topic. Right.
Okay.
Right. And
All
that's on the moderator.
Yes. So 10 minutes at moderator's discretion.
You know where you're
Well-
gonna put this? You know where this is gonna fit in the rules? You know what number?
Okay, hold on. I gotta work in between two things here. Maybe, hold on. I don't know, should it, ooh, no, I don't like that one. Should it come? I don't think that it should come with the emotions and moving the question.
In
Section
section
8,
8, yeah, somewhere in there.
somewhere in section 8.
So
So,
8.8,
okay.
Yeah, so
hold on.
maybe under the decorum and debate, rule 8.5, we add a section 8.5.3 where we defer to whatever the chapter and verse is, and moderator Russ, maybe you can identify specifically what that chapter and verse is of the
Okay.
Robert's Rules.
All right. So
I'm sorry, I
8
can't right now. I've got multiple things trying to get back on. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right.
Right.
Relax. So, John, your suggestion is to put this under 8.5.3
Right?
and for it to be 10 minutes.
Well, no, I think I would just defer instead of rewriting it is that debate will occur as per section yada, yada, yada of Robert's Rules of Order.
Okay,
So-
don't give it a section for Robert's rules because they're always revising it. So just say
Right.
Robert's. Rules.
Right,
just
so then whatever the
occur
latest
as to
revision is.
occur per Robert's rules.
Per the section that we need to get and the latest edition.
Okay, hold on. And I'm going to put down latest edition.
So here's my question.
Okay,
If we don't, I'm sorry, I didn't raise my hand. If
No,
we
it's okay.
don't, if we don't specify, it goes directly to Robert's rules. So do you need to put this in?
Is there a section now that limits to 5 written in there? I don't remember seeing
I
it.
don't see it. The only thing that
No.
I see is how long before someone can move the question.
Correct. You have to be able to speak for 10 minutes at least. And
Right.
then give another 10 minutes. The moderator has the choice to give another 10 minutes.
Yes. Before moving the question, but there is nothing, I don't see anything that gives
Scanning
us
through quickly,
specific.
I'm not seeing any reference to.
Only under citizens petitions that I see a 10-minute rule.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right. So, okay, so as,
I just don't want to have the rules more than maybe they need to be.
right,
If
right, yeah,
if we automatically defer to Robert's rules if it's not specified.
okay, all right. You know what, and maybe at the beginning of our rules, we should have a statement that says that if, unless something is specifically addressed in these rules, then
Mhm.
it's Robert's rules. Does that make sense?
In there somewhere, I'll just have to find it for you.
Okay. All right, Betsy, we're gonna have to sit down together. Okay, so for this one, wow, I wrote a lot. So we're gonna start out at 10 minutes, moderator's discretion. The moderator may extend the time. And under 8.5.3, debate will occur per Robert's Rules, latest edition.
Recording in progress.
That, okay, does that make sense? It just seems like it's a lot of words. Okay,
Well, remember that it's per Robert's Rules. There's a section of Robert's Rules that identify as debate, if I've been hearing this correctly. So I'm thinking that we need to identify that section and then
Hold
the
on.
date of the book.
I have Robert's rules right here. Right in front of me. Oh, God. Debate, right? Ooh, ooh. It's horrible to get old. Beyond the basics, voting electricity at a meeting. Okay. I'm looking quickly. And I'm sure that there is something in here about time. But it's not jumping out at me. So,
And of course,
let's
you
see.
can't even look it up online without buying the book. That's crazy.
Yeah, but like I'm doing right now. All right, so I just want to make sure that I get this right. Speaking time will be as per Robert's rules, latest edition, and at the moderator's discretion may be extended.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, all right. Okay, hold on, let me write that.
Jackie,
Yes,
Jackie,
yes,
in section 7.1 of the
Yep.
rules that we're reviewing,
Yep.
it talks about the most current edition of Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised and all of that. It comes under parliamentary authority. And it says that we follow that. I mean, so we don't have to put anything. If we're
Okay,
going to be
all right.
following rules, we don't have to put anything. And I think that's what our moderator was saying before.
Okay, so.
But that's
we-
under motions, though.
Right,
7.1, it talks about referring to Robert's rules.
so.
Why not move
Yeah.
that parliamentary authority over to debating, decorum and debate where it belongs?
Maybe it needs
Okay,
to be right
then-
up front for all of our rules. you know?
That's what I'm thinking is just to start out with that.
Yeah.
That
Excellent.
if our rules do not speak to an issue, it is addressed by Robert's rules. That saves us a
Perfect.
lot of muss and fuss. I think. Does everybody agree?
So you like a preamble? You want to like a preamble type of thing?
I think so. I don't know. How does everybody else feel?
I think that would be fine.
I like
Yeah.
that idea.
Because that way, there's no question. It's like, from the get-go that this is how it's gonna work. Okay, so let me just kind of, yeah,
Madam Chair,
All right.
Representative Surf's hand is still up. I don't know if she.
okay. Representative Surf, I can't see hands. Representative Surf, did you have something to say?
Yes, I just unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes,
I just wanted to say, let me dip my head. I want to thank Moderator Rusk for saying that she doesn't really, can you hear me okay?
yes,
I
we
want to
can
thank
hear you.
Moderator Rusk to say that she doesn't really want the timer. When anyone was talking with the timer under the town council, it was so nerve-wracking. It was nerve-wracking for the counselors to try to
Okay.
get under 3 minutes, and it was nerve-wracking for us, the peanut gallery, to be watching everybody trying to talk as fast as possible to get what they had in 3 minutes. And you couldn't really concentrate on the content of what they were saying because you were so anxious about how fast they were trying to go. So I think Moderator Russ is going to do a really good job,
Okay.
deciding if somebody speaks too fast. And I'm grateful to her for saying she doesn't really want the timer.
Right, and I think that that whole issue of time to speak will be addressed in the preamble. And Moderator Russ will have the ability just to say to people, okay, enough. You can sit down now. Okay. So,
Do I get to
Now-
quote Jackie on that?
yes, Jackie says,
Jackie says, enough, you can sit down. now."
enough, enough. All right. So was there any other thing other than what Representative Thomas had proposed that anyone would like to see changed?
In what he proposed?
No. Before we get into that discussion, is there anything about the rules as they are now? Is there anything else that anyone would like to have changed?
I have one suggestion.
Okay.
Since you went with the 10 minutes, which I don't have.
No, we didn't.
By your Robert's
No.
rules, what?
We went by Robert's rules.
All right. What I think somehow we have to be able to say to the group, though, that when 10 o'clock runs around and you vote on whether you're going to keep the meeting going or not, that if anybody chooses to leave, they're not penalized for making that choice. Because some people just don't want to stay that late, and I understand it when you're getting up in the morning to go to work. And I personally, I'm not opposing it because I like people to be able to say what they've got to say, but that 10 minutes is going to make those meetings long.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So I just think it would be nice if we had something that said that, it's acceptable to leave at 10 o'clock should you choose.
Actually, is that in here?
No, that's,
know
that
during
again is the
budget
moderator's,
time-
that's the moderator letter for budget only. That's-
Yes, at budget time.
Yep. So,
Because
so is
usually-
that, so is the limiting on talking. That you'll see that letter,
Okay,
but Jill's gonna modify it.
all right. So,
Okay.
and I can't remember if it says at 10 o'clock, if you wish to leave, nobody's gonna boo and hiss. I don't remember there being any kind of,
Yeah, I don't remember. The only thing it can affect is our quorum.
right. So, but I think that maybe in the moderator's budget letter, she can just say, remember, if you leave, it may affect the quorum, which just means more work the next night to remind people.
No, I don't think that's right, Jackie.
Why?
I think you don't want to put a load of guilt on their back because somebody's
Really?
going to leave. I don't think so anyways. Some people get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to go to work. And I just think that it's if they've done their hours that are supposed to be normal and they need to leave, you're going to make them stay.
No,
Is
it's
there
not.
anything in the rules now, though, that even talks about that? I think that
No,
what's
there
happened in the past is that occasionally the moderator just takes another head count to see where we're at. And if we run out of a quorum, we run out of a quorum. That's just what it's
Right.
going to have to do.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yes,
So that brings me to the subject that will help with this situation. The order of business on section 5 on page 3 of the rules. If you change how we have things set up, like the reports of communications, should stay where it is. I'd say it's the
Looking for it.
liaison reports that take 45 minutes.
they do, really?
Yeah, they do.
Who does?
Liaison reports, we
reports.
have quite a few liaisons and
Oh, yeah.
they're
yeah.
excellent reports, don't get me wrong. But it isn't, the problem is if you have business that has to get finished new business, you're not getting to the new business until very late. So I would just make the suggestion, and you can talk about it, of course, is moving the new business. But we don't even have new business. It comes under committee reports. So
Yes,
J,
committees.
the J section,
Okay.
reports of committees, that should come before liaison. It's just a switcheroo.
We just
Okay.
switched J and I.
Yep. That's just my suggestion, because that.
All right,
the-
that
the-
makes sense.
The actual business at hand are in the committee, not liaison. So, okay.
Right.
Can I ask a clarifying question on that, Betsy?
Yes,
Yep.
sure.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, may I ask a clarifying
Yes, you
question
may.
to Betsy? So one of the things that takes a long time is that committee chairs tend to read their notes verbatim.
Yes.
I did not find anywhere in here that states that they need to be read into the record, which is what I had heard often, they need to be read into the record. If chairs get their minutes out in a timely manner, meaning a number of days before the meeting, do they need to be read into the record?
They would be a part of the permanent record.
Well,
Yep,
the
they
answer
would.
to that, in a perfect world, Madam Moderator, committees wouldn't be meeting the same night as an RTM meeting. That
Sure.
does
Right.
happen. And therefore,
Sure.
we have to have the full reading of the minutes, such as they are. So it's kind of been like, well, why am I the chairman if I don't get to read my report? Yeah, I don't know if people read their emails. So I think at this point, maybe that's something that needs to be discussed with the whole body, because I don't know, I don't have the true understanding of what people do with their emails. I don't know if they read
Right.
minutes.
Yep.
I don't know if they do, but truly, I often don't see those minutes from a committee meeting until after the RTM full meeting. Sometimes chairmen don't send them to me until even after that. So I don't know. So we'll have to work on that. That's a full body, and all your committee chairs have to sign on to whatever the suggestion is.
Okay.
I agree, there is a problem.
Betsy, just a quick question. There is a time limit on by FOI if there's a time limit on when minutes have to get to you. Am I correct?
So what FOI says is that the votes of any meeting, so you're having a meeting tonight, the votes that happen tonight have to be available in 48 hours to any citizen. That doesn't
Okay.
mean that I have to have them. It just means you have to have that information readily available to give to a citizen. And then it further states that the minutes shall be available, full minutes, 7 days after the meeting.
Okay.
Available, that doesn't mean you send them to me. Again, there's no requirement for you to send those to me until after you give the report. So the reason why committee chairs, I ask them to send it to me so I can send it out to the full body
Right.
and attach it to the agenda. That's why I ask for it. It's just housekeeping for me.
So thinking and listening to these
No one
comments,
violates the FOI intentionally, and they really don't. So
Right. Okay.
but for
John.
those minutes that have already been sent out and are attached to our packet, why would a chair of that committee have to read them into the record? All he or she would have to do is say, look for a motion to approve minutes from my January 1st meeting.
That were previously distributed.
Right.
Which
Is that something that we should put into the rules like that? Maybe it would encourage.
I think that's rules to the chairs of committees, not in these rules, but the rules to the chairman, So
and actually, truth be told, I'm the secretary for the board of Phil Memorial. And when I do my minutes, we always get all of our committee minutes beforehand. So the minutes for the board meeting state minutes previously distributed. And it works. And then we don't, it's just like a quick, when committee chairs give their report, it's just a quick kind of thing. They don't have to go into it in depth. How would we handle saying to committee chairs, explaining to them how this should work?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Oh. Sorry. I have instructions that we tweak every so often, and
Okay.
they're going to be tweaked. They're going to be tweaked.
Okay.
And I'll run them by the moderator and this committee just to make sure that it's, the floor leader. Well, it happens to be the floor leaders are both on this committee, but it's just how to write minutes and simple. It's simple Robert's rules and FOI information.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's just a small packet, and I'll run it by you. Y'all get to kibitz with it.
Okay. All right. So okay, so we don't have to worry about that. Let me just cross that out. All right. Let's see. Are there any other rules that folks?
Are you going to change the I and J?
Yes, we're gonna switch. We're gonna switch J with I. And in the regular order of business, or order of business. No, that wouldn't be up to me. I have noticed when I was on the RTM previously, frequently, we would have the superintendent of schools and either John Reiner or Paige Bronk giving a report the same night. And I realize we only meet once a month. But that always took a lot of time.
So,
And
I think that the last RTM, correct me if I'm wrong, people that were there, I believe that the economic development and planning report we'd get a written one, but they would only be there quarterly, physically there quarterly.
okay, all right. The other,
And you can ask the superintendent in school for the same thing if you want. But we had an
Okay.
issue recently with the buses. That was why we had a long meeting with her.
all right. But we also, do we still have a Board of Ed liaison? Harry, that's you, isn't it?
We had one. It is a liaison, but we don't have any appointments right now.
Okay, so, but couldn't, if we had the superintendent of schools come in quarterly, the liaison would be able to fill in on what's going on with the Board of Ed. I would think.
I think that's a good idea.
You also, can I say something, Jackie?
Sure.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry. We also have a moderator that should be paying attention to what's going on in the town. And if there's 2 months in a row, something hot's going on in the education, that could be put on the agenda anyways. Right?
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
You don't have to, I was reviewing RTM agendas and minutes from 1957 forward. And every resolution that the council made was always on the RTM agenda, just so you
Oh, no.
knew what they did. And you'd have an opportunity to use power of initiative to knock it down also.
Okay. Well, in order to maybe shorten meetings, could we just state that the superintendent of schools will give a quarterly report, and the Board of Education liaison will report on what is going on with the Board of Education. Unless, if it is something absolutely critical, then it should be on the agenda for us to hear about it. But just ordinary stuff, quarterly would work.
I would say have the superintendent of schools provide a quarterly written report and be available for questions and answers.
Yeah, okay, that works. That would work. That would work too.
We
All right.
can't direct, the RTM can't direct the superintendent to do anything, but you certainly can request it.
Okay, so, I'm trying to think how we would, work it.
Why don't you just ask her, what she'd like to do? Because every
Okay.
superintendent's different. If they got something to sell, they want to be there every month,
Right.
If you remember Superintendent Cadry, he always had something to sell.
Yeah, it definitely. All right, so, Moderator Rusk, would you like me to call Superintendent Austin or send her an email, just asking or making the suggestion that she, present a quarterly report?
I'd be happy
To
to do
the-
that. I'm
Do you
happy to
want
do
me
that.
to?
Yeah, I can reach out to both the economic development team and
Okay.
to the superintendent of schools and
Okay.
talk with them about the proposal of doing, you said a monthly report from economic development and a quarterly, coming quarterly. And then the superintendent of schools giving a quarterly in-person report. Is that what you're asking?
I was saying
I-
a quarterly written report would be available for questions and answers, and I'd argue we should do the same thing with the economic development folks.
You only want it quarterly?
well,
So I know
Economic development's
that-
a little hot.
wait a minute, Jen, hold on. Jill was gonna say something. Okay,
I
go
know
ahead,
that
Jill.
I'm so sorry. I know that economic development makes a monthly report because they give it to the Economic Development Commission anyways, and we're right after that. So I don't think it's extra work for them to give us a monthly report.
Okay,
And then have them come quarterly or when something comes up. Does that sound okay?
I
I'm not
think
trying to
so.
make policy here. I'm just asking. a
No,
question.
no.
Okay.
I think maybe part of what we may be trying to do is to be able to conduct business, but not be conducting business all night on the second Wednesday of the
Mhm.
month.
Well,
Okay,
and then if we have economic development one month and we have the superintendent of schools another month, then it's not as long of a meeting.
right.
Okay.
Because it used, from what I remember, it would just be to have them both on the
Mhm.
same night was just like, oh, please. Okay, all right,
Okay.
I will include that in my minutes, that you will reach out for that.
Also asking if they have a suggestion. They may have something that, would be, wow, we didn't even think of that. So,
Right, okay, all right. That works. Now I'm looking. Is there anything else? That as you went through the minutes, was there anything else that you felt we needed to address or to change? Don't everybody speak at once.
Well, is this the point when we bring in the stuff from Representative Thomas?
Yes, we can.
I'm sorry, did he send stuff about the rules also? I thought there were two different documents.
There
One
were,
about rules and one about the resolution.
yes,
Yeah, I've got notes here that are in an email. what's the date stamp on this thing? It was December 16th. That was today at 4:01 PM. An
Yes,
email went around. And it's got the resolution, and it's also got the his notes on the rules.
I got something at 4:28, John.
hold on. 12:18.
It was,
came from Betsy.
it was the
Yeah,
same.
that's the one I have.
Yeah, so
I got some.
there was an email that arrived at 4:01 PM that I'm working off of at the moment, that was a note from him regarding the specific attached find 2 documents containing my suggestions for rules, alterations, and preservations, along with his suggested edits for the point of power of initiative resolution.
Right.
And the 2 documents were attached was the resolution and his thoughts on the rules. I mean, I'll bring the first one up. I'm not, Betsy, you may have more idea about this, but he's suggesting in section 3.8 that the moderator's term of office shall be identical to that of the RTM, which chooses the moderator, except that by a vote of at least 2/3 of the RTM members present and voting, the moderator may be removed and another member chosen to assume duties and responsibilities of moderator. So I guess reading into that, we don't have a method for removal.
Hang on, let me just get into, it's 3.8.
3.8.
Of course, I'm working off my iPhone, so I can't see the original rules at the moment.
And yeah, I'm working off. of mine
I'm
too.
looking at it right now. Well, 3.1 is the 2-year term. So
Yes,
that would answer it right there. There's no,
there is no provision for removal.
No, I think what he's referring to here is not, kicking you off the RTM. But if there is a decision that it gets 2/3 vote of the membership, we could choose to make Harry the moderator instead of Jill.
Right.
2/3 of the membership or 2/3 of those present and voting?
2/3 of
members-
those
members
present and voting.
Yeah.
Um,
it says, yeah.
Leanne, your hand is up.
Yeah, I have 2 things. I think to be looking at something like this that came in so late is totally out of order. None of us have had any real time to contemplate it, think about it, or anything else. So I would ask that it not even be reviewed this evening. And the second thing is, I don't think it's necessary. But the most important thing is that you can't have something come in at 4 o'clock. It's not on the schedule for the meeting. And
It is,
it is.
I think.
Yeah,
Discussion
these
of
are
rules
rules.
is on the-
You're discussing
These are rules
rules,
discussion.
Dan.
Yep.
It's
What's
just
that?
adding a different, you're just discussing rules. These
I
are
know
his
it-
thoughts on rules. Well, I mean, it's just,
Betsy, I understand that what meeting we're in, but on our agenda for tonight, oh, I had it.
Rules discussion and a
anyways,
resolution.
I think I just don't think it's something you just drop down and start talking about without a little time to go and see what is appropriate, what's there, what isn't there. I mean, if you want to take an hour and tear it apart, that's fine, but I don't think it's appropriate. You got to have a little heads up time for what you're going to be discussing. For what
How's
it's,
that any different from what we've been talking about tonight?
because those things are a hell of a lot more simple than what we're talking about here. We weren't talking about
Yeah.
removing anybody. We weren't talking about anything like that. We were talking about limitations on how you speak and moving the meeting a little bit sooner and things that we're going to bring forward. I'm not anywhere as prepared to go into this. And if anybody was being honest, I don't think they are.
Can I speak?
Sure, Harry.
Madam Chair, excuse me. I got this at 4:01 too. I actually printed it out and didn't fix dinner for my daughter coming home tonight because I got it so late and I haven't had a chance to read it. that carefully. I did print it out. I have a color printer, so I have his changes in red and whatever else. But how many times are we gonna meet? What's the goal of this committee to get this done?
Okay, so to answer your question, I've done this 2 or 3 times before, and ideally, I would have liked to have seen the new rules presented to the RTM in January.
Okay.
That's not going to happen. So we can set a goal of our rules being presented to the RTM in February. I mean, it's better than there have been councils where like their term is over in November and they've gotten rules in October. We can't do that. We need to have our rules in place as soon as possible.
Okay, I would
So-
agree with Leanne. If we're gonna have another meeting, was my point of how long we're gonna do this.
Okay,
This
all
could,
right.
this doesn't have to be talked about tonight, and I could agree with Leanne and Representative Aubrey, excuse me.
I'm
Um,
sorry,
and-
Leon's fine.
Okay. And have a meeting when we can talk about this.
all right, so.
Because there's a lot
let's-
to talk about here.
Well. it
So why
all
don't we just
depends.
let the minutes reflect the receipt of these ideas? And
Right.
we'll put them on the agenda for the next
For
meeting.
our next meeting, and hopefully, I think our next meeting, the rules, the real rules, we've already discussed those. So we should not have to go back and revisit those, I don't think. And we would be able to devote our time to Representative Thomas's suggestions. As chair, I do have something to say. Harry, I would ask you to
Uh-oh.
step in for me for a few minutes. Because I don't think it's fair of me to speak as chair. I need to speak as an RTM member, a member of this committee, and a citizen. To be absolutely honest, I think what is being proposed is a thinly veiled attempt at, for want of a better term, a coup. It's like it didn't go our way. So we're gonna make a rule that it will go our way. We are the representative town meeting, not the representative, I don't know, faction meeting. We represent districts, not just a certain group of people. And in my mind, this is what these rules do. They give power to a specific group. And that's all I have to say. And thank you, Harry, for standing in for me.
Thank you, Representative Massett, or Chair, Madam Chair.
So there it is. There it is. All right, so if we, and it will also give Representative Thomas a chance maybe to be here. And give his rationale
Do you want
for,
to look at it, since you're all here, you want to look at your calendars and see what might work,
sure,
another meeting?
yeah.
I have to
Okay,
go, I have to go walk in the kitchen. I'm not electronic. I have to go look at the calendar on the wall. So once in a while, I'll take a picture of that calendar on the wall and put it in my phone and look at it, but I'm I am into Google Docs, but I am not into electronic calendar stuff. Sorry.
Oh, Harry. Okay. So, well, all right. Representative Scott, do you have any preference?
For a date? No, I mean, I'm off for the next 2 weeks, so we could do it then, and then after the first of the year, my calendar is pretty wide open, so.
Oh, okay. Well, next week is like the week before Christmas.
Right.
We could do it maybe, that first week in January. We could have a meeting.
Or
No,
December
no, no,
29th?
we can't.
December 29th?
No, that's too close to New Year's. Look, I need to practice.
29th is not a holiday, still, we could do
I
business.
said,
I'll
I
be
need to
working.
practice for New Year's. No, what I was thinking the first week in January, but there are also caucuses that week, which makes it difficult on our
So the last
time.
week in January is off limits?
No, oh no, the last week in December.
Yeah.
December 29th is the last week.
Yes.
Do you want to try for something that week?
I think that's better, because you're right, both the parties have our caucuses, and there's a lot of work that
Right.
has to go into that, so.
Right,
The 29th is probably best.
okay.
Are people taking vacations at all that week?
Oh, well, too bad, too sad. You're either here or you're not.
Yeah, I'm in Portland, New York,
You're
and
not.
zooming in, so.
Yeah, you know. So what day of the week is the 29th?
Ask
The
Harry.
Wednesday.
Harry just looked at his calendar.
Oh, okay. You're
Get it,
muted.
Harry.
Unmute.
I'm sorry, unmute. I'm good. You're talking about the 29th is on a Wednesday. Yeah, the 29th is on a Wednesday. I'm good.
Okay.
27, 8, and 9.
27th.
8 and 9. I'm good then. I mean, I don't want to meet on New Year's Eve.
No, neither do
Thank you.
I. Okay, so the
You don't want to spend New
27th,
Year's Eve with us, Harry?
No.
A little sad.
we know from the exchange of emails that the 29th is, or a Wednesday is not a particularly good day for Representative Thomas.
Were
So,
Thursdays better
I
for
thought that
him?
was Thursdays were no good. I thought Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
what's today? I'm sorry. Oh, God.
Today's
What-
Thursday.
Today is Thursday. All right. Okay, so we know Thursdays are not good. So that would leave out the
30th.
The
the
30th.
30th. So we're looking at Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
How
Are we?
about
No.
29th? How about 29th, the Wednesday?
Okay, all right. And 7 o'clock
Sure.
Sure,
and Zoom.
sure.
Okay. I'm
Okay, I've
glad.
got it noted and I'll send that out.
Okay, all right. And Betsy, I may have to sit with you to help me with my minutes.
Absolutely, anytime.
Okay, I will give you a call and I will set something up. Is there anything else?
Are you going to be talking about the next thing on the agenda or no?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, Representative Scott. Your power of initiative.
So, you all have the original copy, and then Representative Thomas did write a well-worded revision to it. I think this is something that we should go forward. I was a little startled that the town manager asked the town attorney to write a legal opinion on a proposal to perhaps hire a new town attorney. I just felt like I could have written it for them, where they were going to say no anyway, and they did say no. I have my thought process behind this, whichever version we want to adopt, is it's nothing more than an advisory committee. We're asking for proposals to be presented to us from different law firms that work in the public sector. We hear what they have to say. We prepare a summary report of we like attorney X, Y, and Z versus this firm, and we make a presentation to the council in a timely manner so that they can make a decision as per how the charter is stated. Now they can tell us to stick it, or they can tell us that they like our recommendation and go with it. And I think what I like the most about doing something like this is it puts the discussion of the town attorney in the public view, because it'd be a committee of all the people that the town attorney represents, and the meetings would be public, the presentations would be public, and whatever the town council wants to do with the information is up to them, but a public effort has been made to make sure that we've got the right representation.
Okay, anybody else want to weigh in?
I do.
Okay, Harry.
I think it's a waste of time. I think that the council has the authority to appoint a town attorney. I think the council's done a great job in my 27 years on the council, and I personally think that we ought to just stay hands off from it. We've done that before, John, and you don't just ask people to give you proposals. You have to put an RFP out there,
Right.
And once you do an RFP, we've done this before as a town, and a bunch of law firms have come in and spent a lot of time in presenting their expertise in this or that. And you understand that the town attorney appoints other attorneys in this town. And that's what the charter says. For instance, the Board of Ed attorney is appointed by the town attorney. I think it's the council's job, and we ought to just step back and let them do it.
Anybody else?
Yes.
Okay, Leanne.
I agree with Harry. I feel it's the council's position. One of the reasons I'm very hesitant is right now, one of the attorneys that we have, and I apologize for that, I can't think of her name right this moment, but she's done an excellent job negotiating with the unions. And that's not something you can just step into. You may have experience with unions, but you're not going to be familiar with Groton. And I think it would be disconcerting to certainly take her out of that circle.
About Eileen Dugan?
Yes,
Eileen
thank you.
Duggan?
Yes. And I think especially now too, we don't have a human resource director. And I think until that position is filled, it's even more,
Next Monday.
well, Betsy, do you want to talk?
No, she
But,
was
but,
just
but that-
giving
it was,
you
it
a
was announced last
snippet.
night at the council meeting. I thought you were there.
When?
Last night at the council meeting, it was announced about the new town HR director. It was news to me too.
Well, I had known about it, but I just don't think it's ours to step into. Plus, if you might talk about something in the future that we do something like this, John, because I think that your idea is good. But if all of a sudden we're asking all these different department heads to come to a meeting to talk about this and be involved, I think it would really be disruptive. If you want to put a plan forward to the council that it would be done that way in the future, I think you as an individual should go and speak with them and see what kind of reception is there. And then from there, we could have some guidance. But I think it would just be terribly disruptive at this point, for what it's worth.
Anybody else? Okay.
Representative Cirque has her hand up.
Representative Sir,
Mute.
Genevieve?
Okay. Am I unmuted? Yes.
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, it's funny, Harry, because when I got on the town council, we had exactly this discussion and you said exactly the same thing. Some of us wanted to put out an RFP, at least to consider a different town. We're one of the only towns, I think, in Connecticut that doesn't do that with the town attorney occasionally, put out an RFP and try another one. It's been my experience actually with these town attorneys, they've gotten a bit complacent and they've gotten to the point where they work so hand in glove with the town manager and the planners and all of that. They pretty much do exactly what the manager and the planners tell them they want. And I don't think that's right, because we've had some problems with that. The Mystic Oral School, we have contracts that we're going to really have trouble getting out of, and they were not good contracts. I've also seen the town attorney, when I was town councilor, really disrespect and write an absolutely awful letter to one of the best developers that we have in Mystic. I won't say his name, but I'm sure you all know him and you like him a lot. And the town attorney wrote him an absolutely putrid letter over a really small matter. So
Representative
I
Sir,
don't think it's
please.
a bad idea to have an RFP and to consider other people. We just can't always have the same people in place. And I think John's idea to have a little bit more involvement, so that it's not just a rubber stamp thing, involvement from the RTM and maybe a couple of department heads, the Board of Ed or whatever, is really a good idea.
Okay.
I mean, there's some transparency into the process.
Are you through? Hello?
And I really agree with John. So if I'm agreeing with John,
Okay. All right. So, Representative Scott, again, like I'm just going to give people a chance. Would you stand in for me for a few minutes?
Sure.
Okay. I guess there are two attorneys' opinions, and they're almost the same. They're virtually word for word as to why this can't happen. And my other question is, or thought, the charter speaks to the process and how this is supposed to be done. And while maybe in the future, we might want to seat a charter revision commission and look at this specifically. But for now, I hesitate to go against what the charter says. And that's it for me.
Okay, I'm giving you back the chairmanship.
Thank you. I'll take it. Okay.
So let me comment on the charter for a minute. There's a mistake in the charter. The charter says that the council has to make a decision in 120 days from
Yes.
the date of the general election, not the
Yes.
date that they're sworn in. So they already lose 30-ish days in a process to bid out a law firm. The charter does not speak to any public hearings, any public involvement.
Right.
The charter just says the council can pick Jackie Massett to be the town attorney. And we won't know why or how Jackie Massett got chosen. And that's, I think, an important process in considering what has happened over the last few years that has garnished quite a bit of public criticism, especially on the Mystic Oral School side of town. I feel like we need to go through some form of a public process. And this idea gives a public process. Now, I don't know why I do know why the attorneys are going to write against it. They don't want to lose their job. But the fact of the matter is that this creates a public process. It is nothing more than an advisory committee. And as I said earlier, the town council can tell us to stick it and do exactly what they want. But at least we have done a process. And we have to remember that as an RTM, we have a lot of power and we never take advantage of it. And this is one of those situations where I think we can take advantage of some of our power. I don't feel it steps on the charter. And quite frankly, a legal opinion is a legal opinion. It's not law. And, the town has hired the 39 of us on the RTM and the 9 members of the council to run the town's business. but yet we always seem to get blocked by an unelected, appointed, paid town official. And I think that we need to take a look at how we get to those people that are advising us and making those calls on whether or not our body can act on something.
Okay.
I really personally.
I guess I would say that in both opinions, they did cite law as to why we can't do this. But it's okay. Is there anyone else who wants to speak
Moderator's got
to
her hand up.
this? Who?
Moderator has her hand up.
Oh, yes, moderator.
I want
Unmute.
to acknowledge, John, Representative Scott, what you're saying. I do see it being a problem 120 days from the election. It gives, when you're newly elected, it kind of, that's a quick turnaround to suddenly have to pick an attorney. And sometimes you feel rushed, to like, let's just pick this attorney because they've been our attorney. I do feel like this is a charter revision issue, though. It's not an RTM issue. And I have no objection to that being a charter revision. And maybe in there put that there should be a public hearing. I don't think it falls under the purview of the RTM, though. That's where I stand.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, anyone else?
So I guess a procedural question I have, this was referred to the committee. Clearly, it doesn't look like there's consensus to vote it out of committee. So if we still want to talk about it on the floor of the full RTM, how does that work? Does it need a vote?
It's still, the RTM still owns it. The committee just had to review it and make recommendations, but the full RTM will still be able to discuss it. It's not, the rules committee could certainly say, well, by consensus, we don't agree with this, or 6 of us or 5 of us, whatever. It's unanimously, we don't want to do it. We recommend you don't do it. It still would be discussed on the floor.
Yeah,
You
So
can't kill
it-
anything in committee.
so it
So-
would go, John, it would go to the entire body.
That's right.
So, but we've got 2 versions on the floor, well, the version I put on the floor, and
Right,
then Representative Thomas put in his thoughts on the idea. So what do we bring back out? The original, his version, or I guess it doesn't matter because there's no consensus out of this committee anyway. And then we just talk about it on
well,
the floor.
You were asking for it, John. It should probably be your proposal.
right.
Okay.
I think, I'm sorry.
I guess, well, that's a good point. It'd be my proposal, and then if anybody wants to modify it on the floor, then
Right.
you could bring it up as an alternative idea.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna just jump in again. Harry, just pretend. My thought is we should, by consensus, decide on either John's, which is the original, or Ian's, which has been revised. And if I'm not, I don't know, I would tend to think that the attorney's opinions are based on John's proposal. So it would make sense that Representative Scott's proposal should be the proposal that is presented, but you already did. But your proposal should be the proposal that the RTM starts their discussion with. And Representative Thomas can present his proposal also. But I think your proposal, because that's the original, and I think that's what the attorney's opinions are based on. So I think you're muted. John?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, now.
Okay, yeah, that's fine with me. I'll do
Okay.
mine now.
All right, so, town clerk. So what should I say? That, the POI proposal will go before the entire body? By
Well, I mean, do you want to
consensus?
take a vote within your committee at this point and say that you recommend or you don't recommend? Yeah, I do want to ask you, I do
Jackie?
want to ask you for that attorney's opinion. I haven't seen it, that attorney's opinion. I've heard about it twice. But you know, there's oodles and oodles of case law that that our town attorney is not looking at, because I spent last weekend looking at it, and the RTM has used power of initiative over and over and over again. So it's really, it boggles my mind, but not really, because the town attorney works for the town manager, and the town manager just doesn't want to have any problems.
All right. So Harry,
I want to
did
see
you
that
have something?
opinion.
Yeah,
Okay.
we could have a motion in this committee, and I'll make a motion that we do not think that this is a good idea. You can wordsmith it in a better way than that.
Yeah, okay,
However, we send it back to the RTM with a negative outcome in our committee.
okay, send back,
I'll second.
okay, Watson and Aubrey. Okay, hold on. Watson and Aubrey.
And certainly when it goes back to the RTM, maybe as a historic viewpoint, you know, the original one from John, but you know, Counselor Thomas is one that he sent to our committee, because that's part of the public record at this point. And also the two town attorney opinions ought to be part of that
Yes.
package too.
Yes, let's see, not a good idea, send back to RTM for discussion by the body. And make available you know what, John, you submitted yours, but I would be willing to bet that most people don't have it. I'm sure.
We
people
handed out
probably-
a paper copy to everybody. but I would
Right,
certainly,
so,
yeah.
I'm just gonna say, make available original from Representative Scott.
It'll actually be in the
And-
minutes. It should be
Oh,
in
okay.
Betsy's minutes from the meeting, so they should have it at the next
Okay,
regular meeting.
and let's see, revisions. Jeez. Or revised copy, let me put down revised, by Representative Thomas.
It's not revised, that's an alternative.
Oh, okay, revised. Okay, alternative.
And the two town
For-
attorney opinions,
Oh, yes,
the town attorney's opinion and the other.
and the outside
attorney.
attorney.
That's all the
let's
public
see.
record anyways, you know, but
I know, but you know what? Outside and town attorney. Opinions. For what, a discussion by the body?
well, we're sending it back. I don't, you know, that's basically saying,
Yeah,
we don't think it's a good idea to send it back. I mean, it's up to the whole RTM to discussion,
Right,
make a decision themselves at this point.
okay, that's, I just said, not
You have to
a,
vote.
send back to the RTM, for discussion. Make available original, from Representative Scott, alternative from Representative Thomas, town attorney and outside attorney opinions for discussion by the entire body.
Right.
Does that work?
Yep.
Okay,
We have to
great.
vote.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
No, okay. Wait a minute.
I'm sorry, Jackie, may I ask a question?
Yes, you may.
Did you put in that notation the fact that the committee was not in favor?
Yep,
That's what
I
we're-
said, yep,
Okay, thank you.
Well, your
Thank
vote, it's on the floor to vote for. You've only, you got to vote yet. You haven't
We have
voted.
to vote. And the part of the vote is that it is that the committee is not in favor. But, to go.
You haven't
it-
got a vote yet for that, have you?
No, not yet.
Oh,
This
okay.
is what we're doing. Because Watson, Harry, you made the motion. Leanne, you seconded the motion.
Yep.
To, that the committee feels that it should go back to, the RTM as a body for discussion, and to make available the original proposal by Representative Scott and the alternative proposal by Representative Thomas, also to include the opinion of the town attorney and the outside attorney for discussion by the entire body of the RTM. Does that work?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
all right.
Moderator Ruska's got her hand up.
I'm sorry, I'm just a
Oh.
little confused.
Okay,
You're voting to send it back with a
Yes.
negative. How do I, trying to like figure out how to say that correctly. I don't know if
Yeah,
the clerk,
what I
And
wrote
how-
down was not a good idea.
Love it.
you're voting in opposition, basically,
Okay,
of
all right,
the recommendation of the,
Okay.
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
right.
I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
I'll do it the nice way, Jill. I'll do it nicely.
Okay. I just want to make sure
opposition.
I'm understanding what you're voting for. So you're voting in opposition and to send it back to the RTM full body.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
okay,
Thank you for
All right.
clarification.
okay. Okay, so okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so Leanne, Harry, and me. 3, John, you're against.
Opposed.
Okay, Scott, any abstentions? Okay, so it, 3-1, and it will go back. Now the question would be, and I don't know if, that would be between, the moderator and the clerk to decide if it's on our next agenda.
Well, I guess my next question, it is somewhat of a time-sensitive document based on the fact that the town attorney has to be appointed by March 2nd.
Yeah, whatever, yeah, that
so-
would be,
Some preliminary thoughts are, do we have a special meeting of the full body so that we could discuss this one item?
yeah,
And it's not up to us, that's up to the moderator and the town
Right.
clerk.
but I maybe,
Otherwise, it's the end of January, leaving basically the month of February, or the middle of January.
yeah, because we meet January 12th. Moderator Rusk, what is your?
Honestly, I think it's going to be hard to schedule a meeting before the 12th of January between
Yeah,
holidays. And then, like we talked about before, that first couple weeks are caucuses for both political parties. I think it might be challenging to get a meeting in before the 12th, but that, you said it, the attorney needs to be appointed by March 2nd.
Yes.
That's the date, yeah.
That we definitely, I mean, it at least gives us a month and a half. So if we, and I know that's tight, but with the holidays, I don't think that's possible to meet.
Why wouldn't,
Right.
I'm just curious, Madam Chair and Madam Moderator, why can't the council pass a resolution to extend that time? I mean, the charter says what it says, absolutely. But if by resolution, they can extend it. I don't know. I don't know if they need to.
Who extend what, Betsy? I'm sorry.
The
For the
council,
council.
the council themselves could extend by resolution
Well,
the,
we have no idea if they're inclined to or
oh,
not.
exactly,
so-
exactly. Of course not.
Right,
Of
right.
course not.
Um,
That's what I just said. I don't know if they need to, but I don't know why they couldn't.
is there any, I'm trying to think, is there any reason why at their next meeting, they could, that they could, just to be on the safe side, maybe do a resolution
Vic,
Who?
that would extend the time, just to be on the safe side.
Here-
If
Here's,
it-
here's the thing though, Jackie, they can appoint the town attorney anytime they want, and they can also put a different town attorney anytime they want. It's just, the charter says they must do it 120 days from the election. So just because they name the town attorney doesn't mean that this resolution that John is proposing couldn't be put in motion. You could still do it. It doesn't make a difference about the charter is 120, you know what I'm saying? So say that they keep the same town attorney. The charter also says that they can change the town attorney anytime they want to.
So in other words, what I'm hearing is that, okay, so it goes beyond the 120 days. And so suppose they do appoint Sussman Shapiro, blah, 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 blah. But then like they're working on this, on the power of initiative thing and the little committee thing. And so that goes through, and then all of a sudden, they can just say to the town attorney, oops, bye-bye, we don't want you anymore.
I don't think so.
I mean, I don't know how that works.
I'm sure they have a contract with an attorney, just like
That's what
anybody
I'm
else.
thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
I really think we're stepping into waters we don't need to step into right now, and I think that's the consensus of the group. So I think we just have to wait and see what everybody thinks about it, but there's nothing we can do about it right now.
No, so
Say goodnight. Say goodnight.
I know, yeah, I'd love to. I hate
I mean,
meetings at
so
COVID.
it's not up to us. If the moderator wants to call a meeting, she can. If not, we'll do it on our next regular meeting.
At our
Anytime.
regular meeting. What I would say is if that is the case, I will not, I don't think that I should make any kind of in-depth report. Maybe I should just say, we met and the discussion is ongoing, because if I make an in-depth report, it's just gonna mean a lot of questions and a lot of time. If we're gonna send the power of initiative resolution back to the RTM, they will need to spend the time discussing that.
And I can pick up the ball and continue to advocate for it. Anybody else who wants to advocate for it, and at the discretion of the moderator, will have those conversations after you do your report on the meeting.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I think my thought is, I don't want us to get, at our next meeting, I don't want us to get bogged down discussing rules that as a committee, we have not even finalized yet. And maybe the discussion on the rules, it could be put off until February.
Well, aren't we having another meeting on the 29th, so that by the time we have the RTM?
Yeah, that's
meeting,
true. If we work really hard, pay attention, and don't talk too long, yeah, we'll be through. Okay. We can try it. All right.
Yep.
How does that sound? Hello, does that sound good to everybody?
Yep, that's fine, Jackie, with
Okay,
me.
Great.
all right, so we will meet again on the 29th at 7 o'clock by Zoom.
Motion to
And
adjourn?
yes, I will entertain that motion. Scott,
Second,
Second.
okay, Aubrey, okay. Meeting is adjourned.
good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Night.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Yes,
Christmas.
Merry
Madam Chair.
Christmas.
Think
Thank you,
good
everyone.
thoughts.
Excuse me, oh,